Everything we do is in search of more go. If it can withstand 0 degrees, can it go -20? If it can run through 5 inches of water per hour, can it go to 6? We go. So it goes. So you can go. It's hard to stop a train.
It came out of nowhere. The weatherman said it was gonna be sunny. He was 99.9% sure. 99.9! And now, my life is 99.9% ruined because of that weatherman. And he is gonna pay.
But honey, we still have the tent.
I am not getting married in a tent.
If you've been injured, call us and let us turn your wreck into a check.
Train. Extreme conditions testing. It's hard to stop a train. Really hard. Train, the most reliable heating and cooling.
All I could think about was the pain. I thought I was dying. One minute, I'm eating a delicious ice cream sundae. Next minute, my brain starts exploding. Couldn't even finish my ice cream. They shouldn't be allowed to make ice cream that cold. Someone has to pay.
If you've been injured, call us and let us turn your wreck into a check.
We're always moving. Scratch that. We're always moving forward. But forward can sometimes look a little backwards. Or like circles. Or like nothing at all. But we never stop. We never stop because life never stops. It's hard to stop a train.
And welcome to Off the Glass, the Oak Ridge High School basketball show. Joining me is the head coach of the Wildcats, Coach Aaron Green. Coach, you know you've had a long basketball season when we're doing a show and the sun is out. It's the first time in daylight savings time that we're doing a show. It's March, and I guess the madness has begun for you all. You're headed to the state tournament. Congratulations.
Well, thanks, David. It's been a wild and crazy last week, I guess. We, got back from the win at Science Hill late, and then traveled to. It's always fun. Don't get me wrong. Then traveled to the drawing yesterday and got back late. So just a lot of fun. Trying to cram in as much tape as you can and get prepared. And what a lot of people don't really realize is all the logistical stuff that you got to take care of. I've got a lot of help with our booster clubs, doing a great job at trying to raise money. So if you're watching, we've got a lot of expenses to cover for the trip, hotels. I promised the guys new shoes that they've wore out all year long if we made it. So, meals and goodie bag. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and ordering T-shirts and getting all the artwork and hotels booked and buses ordered and practice places booked. We're going to UT on Monday, trying to get a place confirmed for Tuesday in Nashville and Murfreesboro. So. With all that said, it's a lot. But it's fun, it's exciting, and just really, really proud of our team, what we've been able to accomplish up to this point.
Well, Coach, let me ask you, if there are some people out there who want to donate, how do they get the money to you?
Yes, we're trying to get, just our bus alone. We're taking a charter, which, just the bus alone is, probably if you stay all week, $4,000 or $5,000. That gives you an idea. Your meals for, 12 players and 4 coaches over the course of, Tuesday through Saturday is several $1,000s. So you're looking at $8,000 or $10,000 that we're going to spend. So if you're watching and would like to help offset some of those costs, you can just simply come by the high school sometime this week and drop off a check. Make it out to Oak Ridge Basketball Boosters, and they can put it in my box, and that would definitely go a long way for help trying to make this a first-class trip for our guys.
Coach, we'll come back and talk about that at the tail end of our show here. Let's talk how you got there, though. On last week's show, I think you had played your first round game against William Blount, and then your second ball game against the Bearden Bulldogs, and that you win that ball game. I think that was the Tuesday game. Mm-hmm. Correct me. So we talked about that last week. So we were talking about the championship ball game. And that was against the Maryville Rebels. Maryville's a good basketball team, obviously one of the top 10 teams in the state. Started out slow in that ball game, kept fighting, but never really were able to get enough over the hump to get to win that game.
Yeah, just really kind of played methodical offensively. Just really kind of got out of our style of play, honestly, and it was really kind of a grind type game. And we held them to 61, which is low for them, but we only scored 48, and just didn't play well enough offensively. And I know we've talked about it the last couple of days. I felt like I really kind of took our style away from us, really trying to get the ball inside too much and play call a little bit too much, and and I thought that was a factor. And said our guys probably played a little bit tight and trying to be I guess not trying to be, but played methodical. And then when you do that, it's hard. You don't get as many shots. There's less possessions, and you don't play as loose and free. And I thought that was a big factor in the game. But we played, had some good spots, but we scored 48 points. You're not going to beat a Maryville team on their home floor. Only scoring 48. And I'm a big, defense and rebounding type of guy, but you got to be able to put it in the hole as well. We just didn't do a very good job offensively.
Well, let me go back to what you said there about them playing methodical. What was your mindset when you just
Yeah, I mean, just I always watch our games and clip and edit our games, and we talked about it after each game. We just we kind of got in a little bit of a funk there. Starting in the district tournament. I mean, we'd won, beat Carnes in a close one, beat Clinton in a close one, William Blount in a close one, Bearden in a close one, and then, struggled against Maryville. So I guess that's 5 games there that we, I guess had struggled. And just looking back on it of how we played and, kind of our, what we were doing, we were just, it was all half court. We were playing against set defenses most possessions. We wasn't really getting it out in transition. A lot of play calls and trying to throw it inside, and just kind of got away from who we are. And then really after kind of self-evaluating how we were playing and kind of looking at what do we got to do to play our best basketball going to Science Hill is just let's play basketball. Let's not think. Let's get out and run. Let's get stops, and let's play fast and play loose, and don't worry about making mistakes. And I thought we did that obviously at Science Hill.
This is a Maryville team that also is qualified for the state tournament. They've got, did he win, Mr. Basketball?
No, Jacoby Wood from Cleveland.
Oh, yeah, I knew that actually. But, you know, he had a good game. He's, I guess, number 22 there, I guess. But in front of a big crowd. And the downside, obviously, for not winning a region championship is that you're forced to go on the road. And here in a moment, we'll have some highlights from that road game. But it is a championship. And you know, I've told people, and people looked at me crazy all week. And I say, you know, after the Bearden game, it's like, you know, the most important game is Monday.
Yeah.
And they look at me, wow, we got the championship on Thursday. Well, yeah, it would be great to win a championship. Every team wants to win a championship. But the most important game was Monday.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you know, we knew that going in. And, you know, we knew we had to play well to beat Maryville. And, you know, it's just, you know, it's one of those deals where we've, you know, when I was even in high school, we won the state championship game, or won the state championship. We went on the road and sub-state and won. You know, in 2014, when we played in the state championship game against Blackman, we went on the road and won at DB. So another example, in 2007, when Maryville won their first state championship, they got beat by 28 at Powell in the region final, and then went on to win the state championship. I went to Science Hill and won, and so it wasn't the end of the world. You know, obviously we want to win every game we play, and we were disappointed with how we performed, but kind of got to shake that off, and you got really, you know, 3 days to get ready for a big basketball game and a lot on the line to go to the state tournament, and our guys prepared well and rebounded from a loss. If you look at our schedule, you know, after our loss, we've played pretty well. You know, going back to the Webb game when we took one on the chin, our guys, you know, responded to that, and you know, they did the same after the loss to Maryville.
You know, sometimes when you go on the road too, you have less distractions and such.
Yeah.
But this was a long road trip. I mean, you and I talked about this, I guess yesterday. Just, you know, some teams have not been in the position like Oak Ridge and Maryville, not, you know, more Oak Ridge than anything, because we've been to the state more than them, but there's a kind of a routine you have to get into. I mean, you could have driven up there at 12 noon to Science Hill and had your guys just lay around, but what was your routine heading up there?
Yeah, you know, it's funny you asked that, because we're, you know, we went on the road twice to Tri-Cities, once to Kingsport in 2014 when they had John Forkelson played on that team, and was down 8 at half and come back and won that game to advance, and then the following year, had to go to Science Hill in 2015. T. Higgins, I think, and Tajon, that group were sophomores, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and you know, and won a close one. I think we won by 2, 55-53. I'll tell you what, David, the difference was in those two. You know, both of those times we stopped at Ruby Tuesdays in Jefferson City. And we stopped at Ruby Tuesdays in 2014. Had our pregame meal there. We won. So the next year we stopped at the same place and won. And where do you think we stopped on Monday?
I doubt it was Pals. I'm sure it was Ruby Tuesday.
Ruby Tuesdays in Jefferson City. So Ruby Tuesdays is the key. But I'm being funny, but we, you know, same routine. Had our shoot around and went to, you know, got on a bus and drove to, you know, eat around, you know, about an hour drive to Jefferson City, and not in really big rush, and wanted to time it up where we got there about, you know, 5:30, give or take. So we're not too early, but not, you know, rushed. And guys got there and, you know, did our normal routines and, you know, just like a normal road game. And, you know, I think it helps to, you know, been there before, you know, kind of know how to, you know, how to handle things. And, you know, not that this, you know, going to Sevier County last year, you know, with some of the guys obviously that were on that team, kind of, you know, got an idea of what that's like. On Sevier County, it was a packed house, and it was a very hostile environment, and Science Hill was as well. But so I think that experience, you know, helps our team for sure.
You know, one thing about your guys, I mean, just looking at them, they could have, and maybe it's a good thing that they don't care about such things, but you look at Science Hill's record, what were they, 32-3, I believe, heading into the game. They'd lost to Dobbins Bennett, they'd lost to Tennessee High, and they lost to a team out of Hawaii when they went to a Christmas tournament. 3 losses and over 30 wins. You could have a tendency to say, man, you know, we got killed by Maryville the other day. We're going to go up there. It's going to be ugly. But they just don't have that mindset.
No, and I think it's you know, I think it's several things. You know, there's a little bit. You know, we obviously Oak Ridge basketball. Even prior to me getting here, it's got a lot of tradition. We've, you know, prior to me getting here, we won a lot of basketball games. Excuse me, got to turn that off. Won a lot of basketball games. You know, and we've, you know, in the last 10 years, we've kind of just, you know, have a. This has not really been arrogant, but we expect to win the game, you know. And I think, I think, we've established that culture of, what it feels like to win, and we expect to win, and, we'll have the same mindset on next Wednesday when we play Houston. We'll go in that game with the same mindset. If we play how we're capable of playing, we'll put ourselves in position to win the game, and that's what we're going to expect to do. And that don't always happen, but I think our guys have even though we only have one senior, they have a sense of confidence and and kind of what we do, and they know obviously the work we've put in, and definitely I don't know if many teams can go to Science Hill and not be a little intimidated, but our guys were not intimidated in the least.
So we roll up to Johnson City to play in a 7 o'clock ball game. The winner goes to the state tournament. Let's roll some of the highlights, Dylan, from this past Monday against the Hilltoppers. A huge student section there. They had their band. It was so loud in there.
Yeah, the start of the game, I think they got up 6-0, and it was really, really loud. It was so loud the guys couldn't hear me really giving instructions during the game. But just a great environment. They've got a lot of tradition there as well. And you mentioned being 32-3 going in, and I thought that our schedule was tougher. You kind of compare and look at schedules and kind of their who they played, and I thought and was hoping that our speed and athleticism and our style of play could bother them a little bit, and that ended up being the case. To go on the road and win a sub-state game, you got to have several guys play well. Here's Preston. He come off the bench, drew a foul there. I thought Kel Slater had a play there, and everybody that played contributed in some way. We've talked a lot about Isaiah Johnson. Here he is in transition. Getting a goaltending call, but he was very, very aggressive, and they had a hard time guarding him and keeping him out of the paint. And I think that Jeremy Miller obviously came out of his little slump that he was in, and played really, really well and was aggressive. And Milway, kind of had his typical game that he's had. He had a double-double, and and Jonathan Stewart made some big threes there in the second half, and just a team effort. And I think going on the road to a place like that with that type of environment, you got to play with confidence. You got to be aggressive, and our guys did that.
I think if the people across the state looked at the scores, they had to be the most shocked at that score, because the final score was really not the way you were up 24 or more. Actually, I remember it being 24 for sure, and you could have made it a lot higher than that.
I didn't really realize. Of course, the game, you kind of get caught up in just coaching and playing, but after clipping the game today, just trying to see what we did wrong or need to improve on or work on. We were up 24 with 4 minutes to go on the road in a sub-state, which is pretty impressive. And that's it's not an easy thing to do. And I think it's just there's Isaiah again with a play, making a shot there. But we talked a lot about it after the game. But I think we were just there's Isaiah on a steal and a layup. But we did a lot of things well. I think kind of a hidden factor, and you talked to my dad about this before the game and after the game, was the glass, rebounding the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They'd been really just dominating since postseason, dominating the glass of their opponents. They're just offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, and doing a really good job of controlling the paint. And that was a big key for us going into the game, was not giving them second chance points and keeping them off the glass. And we didn't kill them on the boards, but we did win the rebounding battle. And if you had to say what was the difference, I would probably point to the rebounding.
Coach, I was looking at the season stats to date here, and I think I saw that Jonathan Milloway has almost 300 rebounds this year, which, at his size, he should have about that many, but that's an incredible amount.
Yeah, he's averaging, I think we did this yesterday at the draw. He's averaging a double-double, which is not easy to do. And, there's a hard foul there. I tell you, my goodness.
I wanted to let you see what that looked like.
Yeah, I didn't see it from that angle. I knew it was bad. But he's had a great year, and there's an and one that was big, and he just he brought it. That kid he played against 33 for Science Hill is a good player. We held him to 5 points. I thought that was a big factor in the game, and and to average a double-double with our schedule is an impressive stat for sure.
And like you said, it was good that Jeremy came out of his little bit of a slump, and could that have something to do with your game plan in the previous games to kind of rein him in, because his game is kind of
and some of these teams you play, you as a coach, sometimes you can overcoach, you really can, and you got to kind of have a balance of you want your guys to play and not think, and just these two, these shots that Jeremy's made right here. He wasn't taking. He'd missed some of those, but he wasn't taking enough of those in our last 4 or 5 games, and was a little bit hesitant because he'd missed some or whatever the reason is. There's Kale going to the basket. But yeah, I think there's Stewart with a 3. And then they cut it to I think 17 at one point. I don't know if they got it. Maybe got it to 15 there, but there's another one there late. And he's he's done that several times this year. But see the bench getting excited. It's just when I was in college, David, playing and even coaching in the SEC.
Let's look at your trainer right there.
Yeah, she's into a 3-ball. Road wins are really special, especially at the college level. I mean, you go to some great environments. Everybody's against you. You don't have a lot of people there, and it's kind of that type of environment there. You go on the road, and it's just a special feeling to win on the road in a sectional, and especially against a team that's as talented as Science Hill.
And that's the moment right there. You win the ball game, and you win it going away.
Yeah, and in our edit tape before we went to Science Hill, I showed them the last. I had your commentating on one of them, I think, the last 15, 20 seconds of our win at DB in 2014 and the last 15 or 20 seconds of our win at Science Hill in 2015. So they got a chance to kind of see the celebration and the excitement of winning on the road, and just really, really happy our guys got to experience that.
So you go on. You're one of the final 8 teams in the state, so that means state tournament, obviously. And yesterday you went down to Middle Tennessee, the site where the tournament will be, where the girls' tournament's going on right now, and Drew, who, it seems like every year, Coach, it's a Memphis team or a Memphis area team, like Southwind. There's a lot of them you've drawn over the years.
Memphis, Southwind, too.
Right. So here's another one. Technically, they're in Germantown, but that's Memphis, basically, and they look like a Memphis team.
Yeah, they do. In all honesty, a lot of times I go into the drawings, you kind of think, man, I was nervous, just the anticipation of who you play, but there's really not a good draw. I mean, if you really look at it, every team there, we talked about this yesterday. If we'd have drew Mount Juliet, we'd been talking about their Mr. Basketball finalist guard. If we'd have drew Cleveland, Mr. Basketball. We couldn't draw Maryville because they're in our region, but if you drew Whitehaven, they're 30-3, and there's not a good draw. So, the good part about we're like everybody, we're going there to win the thing. So you got to win the first game to have a chance to win the second. And so the positive part about drawing a Memphis team is you've got a talented team. We've got a week of preparation, and hopefully in a week's time we can get ready to play the game and still stay aggressive and sharp, and put a game plan in place that'll give our guys the best chance to be successful against a really good team.
Coach, when I look at social media, I see it's an easy cakewalk to the championship game. I'll see you on Saturday.
They need to come watch film with me a little bit.
Right. You look at the bracket. As it was unfolding, I was thinking, well, the top bracket does seem a pretty top heavy with Memphis, Whitehaven, and Cleveland. Obviously, that's maybe 2 of the best teams in the whole tournament playing in the first round. And then you got Hillsborough against Maryville, and then that's the top bracket. And then Blackman, Coach Wortman's Blackman team beat you in the state championship game a few years ago against Mount Juliet. And then in Oak Ridge and Houston. Houston's making their first ever trip to the state tournament.
Well, I can tell you this: they're extremely talented. You don't win. I think they're 29-3. You don't win 29 games in Memphis without being talented. The biggest team we've played up to this point. They start, and this is not exaggerated. I'm waiting to get the roster to confirm, but they start 6'9", 6'7", 6'7", and 6'6".
Whoa!
So that's most centers in the SEC are 6'10", 7 foot, but that resembles an SEC big, high-level Division I size team. But with that said, there's some disadvantages to being big, So they got to get up and down the floor. You got to be able to guard quickness and speed. So, they lost to Whitehaven, who's really, really small in the region final. So. Very talented team. A couple of notes on Houston. Mike Miller, who was a standout player at Florida, played in the national championship, played at the Heat, and won, I think, an NBA. His son plays for them. Wow. Also, one of other University of Memphis' assistant coach's son is a point guard. So they've got they got some talent. Got an Appleby kid. He's a 6'6" wing. That's a lefty that can really play. He's one of the top recruits.
Can they shoot?
Yeah, he can shoot it. Yeah, they can shoot it. one of the top, he's one of the top recruits in his class in the state. Applewhite, I think is his name. I know him by numbers. I don't really get caught up in their names, but yeah, and they're so they're 4 and 5. Or 4 men can shoot it. Both their wings can shoot it. Point guard's 6'4". So yeah, just getting into some of their tape. They're obviously talented. But again, as you know, Dave, we've played some talented teams over the years and played some talented teams this year, and they're not going to be any different than the good teams we played up to this point. They're a little bigger. That's okay. I think our schedule has prepared us to go into Science Hill and win, and our schedule has prepared us to play a good team next Wednesday.
I know your guys. I think you gave you guys the day off today. So have you had any interaction with them?
No. We did this for Science Hill. They had they've all got to turn in a scouting report to me on Science Hill after we beat Maryville. We had a day off that Friday, and they had to turn in a scouting report on Science Hill. There's tape on Huddle that they watch, and doing the same thing for Houston before we start practice tomorrow. They've all got to turn in a scouting report on Houston, and that'll get them kind of really in tune to what their personnel looks like, kind of how they play, and give them an idea of what they've got, and then we'll spend the next 2 days really a lot about us. We'll work on our stuff and kind of fundamental stuff, and keep them trying to get better, and try to keep that same mentality we had at Science Hill. And then a lot of that we'll get in summer stuff. We'll watch tape and do those things over Thursday and Friday, but those 2 days will mainly be about us, and then off Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday preparation. That'll be more focused on Houston.
Coach, I know you're focused on tape right now, and I don't want to keep you any longer than you have to stay, but I've got a few more things I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Just kind of some general questions, and I've asked you this maybe 3 different times during the course of the tournaments. You lose that class from last year, that senior class. These guys just stepped up. Do they realize how far they've come? I mean, do they realize they are in the final 8 in the state?
I think they do, and and we want. We really want, we want them to enjoy it, but at the same time, I think part of the process is, your job's not done. I mean, we've got to get, we've got to get ready to go and try to play our best game on Wednesday, and I think these 2 days off is the time to enjoy it, But at 3:20 tomorrow when we start practice, we've got to. We won't be thinking about beating Science Hill. We'll be focused on getting better, competing in practice, and trying to fine-tune some things that we've made some mistakes on defensively and offensively, and hopefully put ourselves in position over the next 5 or 6 days to play good basketball. And that's a challenge. Every coach right now in the boys basketball has got you've got 9 days from Monday, 10 days really before you play your first game. Some of those AA teams play on Thursday. It's a challenge to. Like Blackman's coach Barry said yesterday, he's like, we've been playing so well, I hate this time off, and that's kind of how we think. So we've got to find ways to, keep your team sharp, but not wear them down. It's been a long year, and that's sometimes that's a challenge. But I'd rather be in that position than going fishing right now. I can assure you that. Right.
So I guess obviously you're going to UT on Monday to get them accustomed to playing on a big floor in a big arena.
Yeah, I got that confirmed today, and it's just take things for granted. Jeremy Miller made a comment. He make his year to be able to go to practice at Thompson-Boyd Arena. So yeah, we'll actually practice Monday. Kind of went through some logistical stuff today with the staff about we'll practice at our arena on Monday about 3:30, which is about the time we'll play on Wednesday. We'll get done with that hour and a half, and then we'll drive over to Tennessee and do about an hour there, hour and 15 of a lot of just shots and getting them used to that that big arena type atmosphere.
Coach, one more question away from the state tournament. I just want to ask you your opinion on this. I heard on coming down here, and I've heard before about the NCAA tournament going to be played without fans. You've played in. How is that going to affect, in your opinion, going back to your college days? Can you imagine playing a big college basketball game without fans?
I've got actual Final Four tickets, and I actually had to call today to try to get my refund because I just, obviously the news is out that, they're actually talking about moving from Atlanta, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, to a smaller venue in Atlanta to have the Final Four because there's not going to be any fans there. But I just feel for the athletes that are there. They've worked some of them for their entire career to play an NCAA tournament. Some of that atmosphere, I've played and coached in the NCAA tournament, and it's really, you can't really explain the atmosphere. So, I hate it for them as far as that, but at the same time, there's going to be a winner and a loser, whether there's 20,000 in
Right.
there or one person in there, and it'll be different. It'll definitely be different, and I think the impact will just be on the student athletes and not being able to play in those type of environments. Final Four last year, it was, I don't know, 60, 70,000 there. I mean, it's just, think about playing in front of a crowd like that. Not going to get that opportunity. So that stinks. And, I've had people ask me, well, is it going to be the same thing at our state tournament? I hope not. I'm hoping it stays kind of more on the West Coast, that type of mentality. But, the SEC tournament, I think, starts tonight. I know I don't think their fans can go. But is that going to be are they going to continue that the rest of the tournament with NCAA? You think with NCAA, that's their governing body. If they're not going to allow fans at the NCAA tournament, is that going to kind of trickle down to everybody else? So if it is, we'll go to Murphy Center and play, whether there's a packed house or not. But hopefully that won't, knock on wood, that won't be the case for next week.
Coach, I can just tell you this, and I told you this story yesterday. In '93, when the girls went to the state tournament, the blizzard of '93 took place, and we girls played a state championship game in front of about 50 people.
Yeah.
And it was, I tell you, it was like a practice.
Yeah.
It's what it seemed like. It seemed like a practice.
It's kind of hard to really picture, playing in a NCAA tournament or playing in a state tournament game with really not anybody in there, especially at a venue like that. Now, we've all had scrimmages and, where there's not many people in the gym or even inter-school, but it's just different. But hopefully we're kind of, talking about things that maybe not happen, but, we'll play it out and see what happens. I know the girls' tournament, that they're playing theirs and people are there. So, but everybody in Oak Ridge plan on being down there. I know one thing I would like to challenge the entire city to do is get behind this team. I think it makes a huge difference to come out on the Murphy Center floor and have a big crowd there. Because they coming from Houston, their crowd won't be that good. I credit a lot of Blackman and those Murfreesboro teams that make it. They fill up. I mean, they're right there,
Right.
And it's a factor.
It is.
And it. So I would challenge everybody. We're on spring break next week. It's about a 2 hour, 15-minute drive. Tickets are $10, I think. Come on down and support these guys, and let's see if we can make some history.
But to me, what I like doing, I like to watch all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get a chance to do that as much, but I do as a fan. Just come down and you can get the whole day pass and watch a lot.
Well, I'll tell you that, of course, the AAA games start at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, and that first one between Cleveland and Whitehaven should be a really good basketball game. And Whitehaven's a lot like Cleveland. They're very athletic, good guards, small. Cleveland's the same way, and I'm anticipating that being a really good game.
Coach, just a couple more things here. What will you have to do to beat Houston on Wednesday?
It won't change much. I mean, it'll start with defending and rebounding. I think as a coach, I've got to kind of, figure out, what things we got to take away. Obviously, with a team that's got a lot of size, and they shoot it well. I mean, they shoot it well. They're big guards and they shoot the ball well. But it starts with, you got to win the paint. You got to keep them out of the paint. With big teams, your biggest probably concern is rebounding. Now, they're all going to be bigger than we are, but there's more to rebounding than just having size. We've got to be gritty and tough and get those guys off the glass. And then I think, offensively, we've got to continue to play fast and, get it down the floor. Hopefully, not play against set D defense the entire game, and play aggressive like we did on Monday at Science Hill. We didn't make a ton of shots, but we played aggressive and played fast, and I think that's when we're at our best. And I think most teams that win, then you got to have guys make plays, and hopefully we can make more than they do.
The game's at 3:45 Eastern time, so it's 2:45 Central time. So just prepare to come on down there. Like I said, 3:45 Eastern time. That's what I want to point out. Coach, obviously we won't have a live show next week because you will be in Murfreesboro, hopefully at this time, preparing for your second round game against either Mount Juliet or Blackman High School. So just any comments you want to make to the fans once again, and maybe that can support you financially?
I mean, if you're watching, or if you can't help financially, if you know somebody that can help financially, we're definitely in need of donations to help fund our trip. We spend a lot of money. We're one of a few programs around, and we feed our guys before every game. With pre-games and meals. So we spend a lot of money on our players, and they've got a lot of they got a lot of gear and shoes and nice locker rooms, and we spend a lot on them, and it'll definitely help us if if we can get some support financially for the trip, and just, again, if you start adding it all up, if you stay all week, you're looking at, $8,000 or $9,000, $10,000 worth of expenses that really kind of affects you going into your next year if you don't raise some money. So if you're watching and would like to help, any $50, $500, $1,000, whatever it may be, it all adds up, and you could just simply come by the high school and drop off a check and leave it there at the front desk, and they can put it in my box and make it out to Oak Ridge Basketball Boosters, and we really appreciate it.
Coach, good luck on Wednesday.
All right, thanks, David.
Wildcats taking on Germantown Houston at the state tournament, 3:45 Eastern Time, 2:45 Central Time at the Murphy Center in Middle Tennessee. We're going to take a break now. When we come back, the rest of the show, we're going to have some highlights of this particular basketball team this year. Thanks for Coach Green for joining us here. Until next week, hopefully 2 weeks maybe, talking about a state championship with a big trophy right in the center. For Coach Aaron Green, this is David Clary saying so long, everybody.
Everything we do is in search of more go. If it can withstand 0 degrees, can it go -20? If it can run through 5 inches of water per hour, can it go to 6? We go. So it goes. So you can go. It's hard to stop a train.
It came out of nowhere. The weatherman said it was going to be sunny. He was 99.9% sure. 99.9! And now, my life is 99.9% ruined because of that weatherman. And he is going to pay.
But honey, we still have the tent.
I am not getting married in a tent.
If you've been injured, call us and let us turn your wreck into a check.
Train. Extreme conditions testing. It's hard to stop a train. Really hard. Train. The most reliable heating and cooling.
All I could think about was the pain. I thought I was dying. 1 minute, I'm eating a delicious ice cream sundae. Next minute, my brain starts exploding. Couldn't even finish my ice cream. They shouldn't be allowed to make ice cream that cold. Someone has to pay.
If you've been injured, call us and let us turn your wreck into a check.
We're always moving. Scratch that. We're always moving forward. But forward can sometimes look a little backwards. Or like circles. Or like nothing at all. But we never stop. We never stop. Because life never stops. It's hard to stop a train.
Train. Extreme conditions testing. It's hard to stop a train. Really hard. Train. The most reliable heating and cooling.
to the right side, looks back to his left, fires it over to Jonathan Stewart for three. It's up and good! Jeremy Miller drives to the right side, pulls up, left extension, the free throw line up, good! Here comes the inbounds pass, here comes to Miller, free throw line jumpers up, good! Basketball down the floor, Preston Turner turning, spinning, driving, pulls up, knocks one down. With the basketball, Jonathan Stewart for three, it's good! Jonathan Stewart! Here comes Jonathan Stewart, his second three of the night's good! Once again, Jonathan Stewart from the corner, not again, yes it is! Jonathan Stewart pulls up, will this be his fourth? It is good! The basketball, will it be number five? It is! Jonathan Stewart knocks down his fifth! Jonathan Stewart, not again, yes indeed! Jonathan Stewart for his 7th three of the night. It is good! Jonathan Stewart, 7 3-pointers. Here come the Wildcats. Jeremy Miller for three. Top of the key. Good! Here come the Wildcats. Out it goes to Lucas. Around the right side. Jeremy for three. He knocks it down. 3-point shot. Jeremy Miller. Wildcats with the basketball. He's driving with it. Will come Kel Slater. Drives the paint. Kicks it off in the corner for a three. It's up good by Jeremy Miller. The Wildcats are right back in it. Down the floor with the basketball. Kel Slater works the ball around the left side. Here it goes to the corner. Preston again for three. It's good. Preston Turner with a 3-point shot. With the basketball once again will come Kel Slater. He dribbles down the floor. Wolf works the ball right side. Pulls up. Here comes Jonathan for three. It's good. Jonathan Stewart with a big shot. And down the floor will come the Wildcats. Wildcats with the basketball. To the left corner goes for a three. Good. Kel Slater knocks it down from the corner. Lucas Searcy holds it, gives it over to Kel Slater. Isaiah right corner for three. Good. 3-point shot. Isaiah Johnson. Wildcats knock down a perimeter shot. And the Wildcats once again. Isaiah pulls up, wants to shoot a three. It's on its way. Good. Johnson pulls up outside the line, gives it into Lucas Searcy. He drives to the hole, puts it up there, and scores! Lucas Searcy with his first 2 points. And the Jonathan Miller away for three. Good! The big man with the sweet stroke. Jeremy Miller down the floor. Jeremy pulls up, shoots a three. It's on his way. Good! 3-point shot. Jeremy Miller. Jonathan Jonathan Stewart to Jonathan Milloway, double team, still's going to shoot, good. Jonathan Milloway powers it over the top of Jag Brown. Jonathan Stewart behind the back dribble, launches a three, good, it doesn't matter. Oak Ridge wins, Oak Ridge. Jonathan Stewart knocks down a three, it counts, it counts. That bad boy counts. Swings the ball to the right side, looks back to his left, fires it over to Jonathan Stewart for three. It's up and good! Jeremy Miller drives to the right side, pulls up, left extension, the free throw line up, good! Here comes the inbounds pass, here comes the Miller free throw line jumpers up, good! Basketball down the floor, Preston Turner turning, spinning, driving, pulls up, knocks one down. With the basketball, Jonathan Stewart for three, it's good! Jonathan Stewart! Here comes Jonathan Stewart, his second three of the night's good! Once again, Jonathan Stewart from the corner, not again, yes it is! Jonathan Stewart pulls up, will this be his fourth? It is good! The basketball, will it be number five? It is! Jonathan Stewart knocks down his fifth! Jonathan Stewart, not again, yes indeed! Jonathan Stewart for his 7th three of the night. It is good! Jonathan Stewart, 7 3-pointers. Here come the Wildcats. Jeremy Miller for three, top of the key, good! Here come the Wildcats. Out it goes to Lucas. Around the right side, Jeremy for three. He knocks it down. 3-point shot. Jeremy Miller. Wildcats with the basketball. He's driving with it. Will come Kel Slater. Drives the paint. Kicks it off in the corner for a three. It's up good by Jeremy Miller. The Wildcats are right back in it. Down the floor with the basketball. Kel Slater works the ball around the left side. Here it goes to the corner. Preston again for three. It's good. Preston Turner with a 3-point shot. With the basketball once again will come Kel Slater. He dribbles down the floor. Wolf works the ball right side. Pulls up. Here comes Jonathan for three. It's good. Jonathan Stewart with a big shot. And down the floor will come the Wildcats. Wildcats with the basketball to the left corner, goes for a three. Good. Kel Slater knocks it down from the corner. Lucas Searcy holds it, gives it over to Kel Slater. Isaiah right corner for three. Good. 3-point shot, Isaiah Johnson. Wildcats knock down a perimeter shot. And the Wildcats once again. Isaiah pulls up, wants to shoot a three. It's on its way. Good.
Johnson pulls up outside the line, gives it into Lucas Searcy. He drives to the hole, puts it up there, and scores! Lucas Searcy with his first 2 points. And the Jonathan Milway for three, good! The big man with the sweet stroke. Jeremy Miller down the floor. Jeremy pulls up, shoots a three. It's on his way. Good! 3-point shot. Jeremy Miller. Jonathan Stewart to Jonathan Milloway. Double team. Still's going to shoot. Good. Jonathan Milloway powers it over the top of Jag Brown. Jonathan Stewart behind the back dribble. Launches a three. Good! It doesn't matter. Oak Ridge wins. Oak Ridge. Jonathan Stewart knocks down a three. It counts. It counts. That bad boy counts!
Train. Extreme conditions testing. It's hard to stop a train. Really hard. Train, the most reliable heating and cooling.
I was out with some friends. Nothing crazy. I was just out for some dinner. The pain was excruciating. It was like someone poured liquid hot magma into my mouth. That pizza was way too hot. I couldn't even enjoy my leftovers. Somebody's got to pay.
If you've been injured, call us and let us turn your wreck into a check.
We're always moving. Scratch that. We're always moving forward. But forward can sometimes look a little backwards. Or like circles. Or like nothing at all. But we never stop. We never stop, because life never stops. It's hard to stop a train.
All I could think about was the pain. I thought I was dying. 1 minute, I'm eating a delicious ice cream sundae. Next minute, my brain starts exploding. Couldn't even finish my ice cream. They shouldn't be allowed to make ice cream that cold. Someone has to pay.
If you've been injured, call us and let us turn your wreck into a check.
Swings the ball to the right side, looks back to his left, fires it over to Jonathan Stewart for three. It's up and good! Jeremy Miller drives to the right side, pulls up, left extension at the free throw line, up good! comes the inbounds pass. Here comes to Miller. Free throw line jumper's up. Good. Oak Ridge basketball down the floor. Preston Turner turning, spinning, driving, pulls up, knocks one down. With the basketball, Jonathan Stewart for three. It's good. Jonathan Stewart. Here comes Jonathan Stewart. His second three of the night's good. Once again, Jonathan Stewart from the corner. Not again. Yes, it is. Jonathan Stewart pulls up. Will this be his fourth? It is good. The basketball. Will it be number 5? It is. Jonathan Stewart knocks down his fifth. Jonathan Stewart not again. Yes, indeed. Jonathan Stewart for his 7th three of the night. It is good. Jonathan Stewart, 7 3-pointers. Here come the Wildcats. Jeremy Miller for three. Top of the key. Good. Here come the Wildcats. Out it goes to Lucas. Around the right side. Jeremy for three. He knocks it down. 3-point shot. Jeremy Miller. Wildcats with the basketball. He's driving with it. Will come Kel Slater. Drives the paint. Kicks it off in the corner for a three. It's up good by Jeremy Miller. The Wildcats are right back in it. Down the floor with the basketball. Kel Slater works the ball around the left side. Here it goes to the corner. Preston again for three. It's good. Preston Turner with a 3-point shot. With the basketball once again will come Kel Slater. He dribbles down the floor. Works the ball right side. Pulls up. Here comes Jonathan for three. It's good. Jonathan Stewart with a big shot. And down the floor will come the Wildcats. Wildcats with the basketball to the left corner, goes for a three. Good. Kel Slater knocks it down from the corner. Lucas Searcy holds it, gives it over to Kel Slater. Isaiah right corner for three. Good. 3-point shot. Isaiah Johnson. Wildcats knock down a perimeter shot. And the Wildcats once again. Isaiah pulls up, wants to shoot a three. It's on its way. Good. Johnson pulls up outside the line, gives it into Lucas Searcy, who drives to the hole, puts it up there, and scores! Lucas Searcy with his first 2 points. And Jonathan Milloway for three. Good! The big man with the sweet stroke.